Minister, thanks for your time. Really appreciate it. I know you landed this morning, so we're going to keep this brief.
It's okay.
You're fine with it, yeah?
I'm good.
I was able to venture deeper earlier this year on my trip to St. Kitts for the festival. Second time I've been.
Right.
I didn't get to venture deeper in 2006 when I went there, so thanks to your team and everybody that enabled me to kind of really get perspective on the island. One of the things I took away was something that kept coming up time after time while I was there, which is how clean the place was.
Yes.
Right, so I really wanted to kind of find out how much preserving the beauty of St. Kitts is top of the agenda, and just kind of how that fits in with the whole sustainability, tourism, regeneration, economic growth, and protecting the environment. If you could just kind of touch on that for me.
Sure. So, as a government, we are on a journey to transition into a sustainable island state by 2040. There are different steps, of course, in the process. For us, sustainability is more than environmental responsibility. There's the social aspect of it. But as it relates to the environmental responsibility, that's why the observation came in terms of the cleanliness. Naturally, we're clean people. We very cleansed. Cleanliness, we say, is next to godliness. I don't know if you've heard that, but it's one of the proverbs. We have embarked on a number of waste management initiatives. For us, we have introduced a ban on single-use plastic. We had the first phase. The second phase is going to come in December. Of course, it's a cultural shift. People are so accustomed to plastics, hoarding plastics, disposing of plastics. So it requires a shift in how we think, a cultural shift, I like to call it. And so we are embarking in terms of a complete ban on single-use plastic. We also believe that the preservation of our natural heritage sites, a number of the plantations that we own, we think it's important for us to make sure that they're preserved as well. We are partnering with a lot of our stakeholders, hoteliers, restaurants, to embark on a number of sustainable initiatives in terms of tourism. In May this year, May 2024, we signed the Glasgow Declaration, which means that we have to have our climate action plan in place. And we're working, of course, with other small island developing states to make sure that we have a climate action plan that works for us. We have a number of issues with our coasts, coastal erosion, and all the other issues that present themselves to us as a sustainable small island developing state. And so that is number one on our agenda. For us, sustainability is not just a buzzword, it's a way of life. We encourage all our stakeholders to embark, whether it's on sustainable practices, whether it's hotels. We have Sunset Reef that won the most sustainable property. I'm not sure if you're aware of that.
I didn't know that. I didn't know they won that. Yeah.
Right, it's a small boutique type hotel, and just the way that they preserve, they create energy, and the solutions that they have for water as well for the property outside of this desalination. As a government as well, we have embarked on a number of concessions to empower the stakeholders in the industry as well to make sure that they're part of this sustainability journey. And so for us, it's more than a buzzword. I know it's trending a lot. It's trending, but for us, it's a way of life. And so hopefully we can transition the island and the destination, of course, into a sustainable island state. We believe if we don't take care of the destination, then we won't have a destination to sell. Beyond that, if we don't take care of where we live, we won't have anywhere to live.
Outside of sustainability, because I really wanted to know what you're most looking forward to development-wise as the country moves forward in order to embrace more people to come over.
Right, so for me, it's converting the destination into a year-round destination. For us now, we operate on seasons, so we get the most of the traffic during the winter season. Hence why we are trying to diversify our offerings and our services to ensure that during what we call the shoulder season, we have an appeal for the destination that people would want to come during, and that's usually after winter. And so that requires a formula. So we introduced the year-round lift, and of course we, as we would have discussed earlier today, added our summer fun to ensure that there's traffic during the summer period. It has been working, honestly. We have year-round flights now from JetBlue, and that's coming out of our biggest source markets, which is in the US. We're doing a lot more here, of course, in the UK, to make sure that there is the visibility of the destination is raised as well. And so for me, it's to convert the destination to year-round, and of course to make sure that the product stays relevant and fresh. So it requires us, at all times, taking a look at the product, making sure that we're able to compete with other destinations, and making sure that we offer an authentic kitchen experience. And of course, that would set us apart from the other destinations.
On that point, then, speak to the promotion of cultural heritage and traditional experiences, some of which were outlined today, because I'd imagine they're integral to the strategy, right?
Absolutely. It is a part of our sustainable tourism agenda. Like I said, sustainability is not just environmental responsibility, but it's preserving what we have to ensure that the industry is in fact sustainable. And so we have embarked in the Ministry of Tourism on a journey to maintain what we have. We've done an assets inventory, and we have a number of sites that were abandoned, not maintained, and unfortunately even vandalized. When people don't understand the importance of heritage sites, they remove the copper basins, they remove the cannons, and so we found that it was necessary to put the mechanism and infrastructure in place. It requires the introduction of legislation, of course, to make sure that some sites are actually preserved and they're not to be touched. And so we're in the early stages of making sure not just the sites, but our stories, our history, our culture, even our animals. We have the pelicans, we have some trees that came there when our ancestors came that are still growing, and those things as well we want to make sure are preserved and covered by legislation. So I think at the end of this month we're going to Parliament to introduce some legislation to ensure that that's in place as well.
I was at the festival, as your colleague pointed out downstairs. Enjoyed myself. I think I actually remember you opening up the one of the first press conferences I attended. Spoke to your Prime Minister, who had a lot to say about you. All good.
Oh goodness.
All good. He was really amenable and a pleasure to talk to. But he was really he didn't hold back in lavishing you with praise on the job that you've done. I know it's a lot of work. I know it's hard work. I can see that. So talk to me about whether that's your favorite or sugar mass.
First, let me just say that and put on record that we have the two amazing teams. We have an amazing team in tourism, so I would not take all the praise, but I must take the opportunity to commend the hardworking staff, both at the ministry and all the agencies that support us in tourism, at the St. Kitts Tourism Authority, SCASPA, they're the first point of entry, and our aviation and maritime divisions as well that support us in this tourism journey. For me, what's my favorite? I am somewhat over sugar mass, and don't get me wrong, I think it's because I'm getting older. I have a son, he's 12, and I played mass up until he was born, and we played mass together when he was 1, when he was 2, and I enjoyed it. But now as a mother, I enjoy taking him to look at it. And what
different type of appreciation.
Right. So I don't actually play mass anymore. What I do is I play in something we call the clown. It's a part of our folklore, where our ancestors, a tradition developed where we mimicked the French. We had the French and British on island, and a lot of our culture comes from that. So there's a dance we do, the waltz, that our ancestors, when they looked and they were, spying on the
cultures.
Yes.
The pastimes.
Yes, they were spying on the plantation owners when they had their grand dinners and balls and mimicked them, and so out of that came the clown dance, and it's something we do every carnival as well. So I play clown, and it's not as trendy, as appealing as the costumes, the fancy costumes, but I very much enjoy it. But I like the St. Kitts Music Festival for a number of reasons. We have all genres of music. It's 3 nights, and there's something for everybody. I like the fact that it's under the moon, under the stars, in the open, tranquil and peaceful. We like to say it's where music meets paradise. And for the past 2 years, we've had 2 separate experiences at the music festival: a stage show, and then we have a second stage. I don't know if you were able to go
I did, yeah.
The Kittitian Village, that's what we call it. And
I didn't know it was called that, actually.
Right, so there's local food, there's a second stage. So the main stage is where we have all the international acts, and then on the Kittitian Village, there's local food, local display of our local artisans, and so it's I kind of enjoy
a really inclusive experience.
Absolutely. And so that's more up my alley these days.
I guess I understand it.
Yes.
In terms of like moving forward, right? You've mentioned this an all year round destination now.
Right.
How far are you away from kind of
achieving?
Yeah, because the end of the question is over tourism an issue for you guys, or do you think you're on track to kind of meet the demand, produce new experiences, and just kind of keep it so that it's a nice, because there's going to be a time, Minister, when
we're careful
everyone's
to make sure that doesn't happen.
Right.
And so when we are sitting down and discussing policies, that's one of the things we keep in the forefront of our minds. And so we don't want to water down the experience. We offer a leisure type, luxury type experience for our visitors. And so even we're big on cruise tourism, we are always mindful at how many ships we want in port at one time. And we have the infrastructure in place to berth 4 Oasis class ships, and not even Oasis, Icon is now the biggest class.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And we have the ability to berth 4 Icon class ships at the same time.
Okay, so you're under capacity then, right?
That means we can have 40,000 passengers in town at the same time. Do we want that though? And so far we've been saying no. We don't want to water down the experience that our visitors have. And so we're mindful in all our planning, policies and programs we introduce to make sure that we don't have mass tourism. Okay. And in terms of achieving our objective in being year-round, I am happy to report that we are getting there. And so we've been strategic in terms of the introduction of additional lifts, diversifying our offerings to make sure that we offer what our visitors are looking for. Working with our stakeholders to make sure they understand the agenda as well. And so we're only struggling now in terms of stayovers, maybe for the months of September and October. Okay. So we have full traffic, we would say, from November up until August. So we just need to do enough, and I don't think this is peculiar to us. I think other destinations struggle during those months as well. It might be people are back at school, people are settling in, but ultimately we're hopeful that we can get to year round. But initially we started at October, November, and usually we would end in March. But we've seen carriers extending their service beyond March, even up to August. And with the work being done by the teams in tourism, we've been able to fill those seats on those flights for the extension period. We are still trying our best to get even summer business as it relates to cruise tourism. But yes, we are getting there.
You're on target.
Yes.
Listen, Minister, thanks for your time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you as well.
And I'll be back, so we'll probably have
We
this
would love to
conversation.
have you back. We can't wait to have you back.
Thank you.
You're most welcome.